Houston beat Milwaukee. I'm not going to be negative. That is not who I am. I'm going to not talk about how Chris Middleton was 1 for 6 in the fourth quarter and the Bucks appeared to shrink. I'm not going to go there. I am going to be uplifting Colin, positive Colin, optimistic, joyful Colin. Houston's interesting. Westbrook was great yesterday. More than any team in the NBA, Houston has benefited from 4.5 months off. Westbrook and Harden are ball-centric. We have seen this happen several times, both last couple of years. They're shot fighters by the end of the first round. They're just tired. I mean, Harden, one of the great scorers in the last 12 years in the NBA, has had awful stretches, awful halves, awful games. He's worn out. He's worn out by the second round. And Westbrook just unravels. Now, neither one has ever been a great defensive player. Harden initially in the league was terrible. Westbrook was just indifferent. He spent all his energy on offense. But yesterday, I thought they were both good defensively against a very good team in Milwaukee. They played their butts off. Westbrook played great yesterday. Now, it remains to be seen if they can beat good teams 4 times in a week. But here is what I think they are. The way it works in the NBA, because players have such control over the floor and the mood of the team, you become the personality of your star. And Westbrook is so erratic and intense that really the Rockets are 2 teams. They're really 2 teams. Is that, the old Jekyll and Hyde. They had a great win against the Lakers this year and an ugly loss. They split. They had a great win against Milwaukee this year and a loss. They split. They played the Clippers in 4 games this year. They beat them at one point by 15. They lost by double figures. They split. Houston had horrible losses this year. They lost by 20 to Orlando. They lost to Charlotte. They lost to the Knicks. They lost by 30 to Phoenix. They lost to Detroit. This is what they are. And last night, you got the good Houston. You got all the energy of Westbrook and Harden. You got defense. You got focus. You got intensity. This is the good Houston. Again, I don't think in the history of the NBA I can ever remember a team winning that was a roller coaster. But my question is the roller coaster element of Houston gone? They not only look refreshed and look energized, it is how they beat Dallas the other night. Watch the entire game. It's how they beat Milwaukee last night. Watch the entire game. It is that late in the game where we've seen Westbrook unravel and Harden unravel. They were fantastic. They were not erratic. They were focused. They were driven. They were efficient. It's not that they won the 2 games over the weekend. It's how they won them. These are the 2 guys in the NBA that are great, but unravel at the end of games, at the end of series, unravel at the end of moments. They were the better team only for about the last 5 minutes of both games. Dallas outplayed them for most of it. Milwaukee outplayed them for most of it. It was the opposite of what we've come to expect from Houston. Oh, they're great late, totally focused. So, I think there are teams that probably, like a Denver, I'm not sure if the bubble helped. Young teams playing well with good chemistry don't need 4.5 months off. This is the team that has benefited from the bubble, and they're a split personality. And yesterday, you got the really good personality, and they can beat anybody in the league. Can they beat them 4 times? I'm not sure, but the time off benefits them. All right, let's shift to a Laker team. I don't think it's a championship team. I know I live in Los Angeles, and many of you think, Colin's such a homer. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. Lakers are not a championship team. And one of the reasons is they have no wiggle room. You got to have wiggle room to win championships. Bad stuff happens. Guys get hurt. The Lakers have no wiggle room. I mean, yesterday's a prime example. AD's a little off. LeBron takes a break. Toronto goes on a 10-0 run. But in the NBA, we tend to think only about the top 2 players because, we were raised in this, Kareem and Magic and Shaq and Kobe and Michael and Pippen and Bird and McHale and LeBron and Kyrie. So we've kind of been raised in this, okay, you got 2 stars. But what I would argue with you, if you look at the 3rd best player in, let's take the last 7 championship teams. That is the key, because everybody's got 2 stars. You're not generally getting to the championship level without a top 5 player in the finals, and almost all of them have a second great player. Let's go to the last 7 championship teams. Who was their third player? Okay, so let's go to Toronto. Kyle Lowry, an Eastern All-Star. He's not a 1 or a 2. He's a great 3. Warriors, Klay Thompson twice. Best catch and shoot jump shooter maybe in the league in 20 years. 2016, Kevin Love. Kevin Love's a perennial all-star. Averaged 16 and 6 that year. Draymond Green. Oh, he was the defensive player of the year, certainly in that class. Kawhi Leonard. He was the 3rd best player on that team that year. Duncan and Parker were better. He won the MVP. And then in Miami, Chris Bosh, Hall of Famer. Gonna get a lot of votes. I'd vote him in. He's on the show today, by the way. So my point being, we spend so much time looking at the star. Oh, Giannis will win. The question with Milwaukee is Chris Middleton even a 2? Because I think Chris Middleton would be arguably one of the league's best 3s. If Klay Thompson is your 2, you're a really good team. If Klay Thompson's your 3, you're getting into dynasty status. When Chris Bosh is your 3, here's the Texas High School Player of the Year. He's a first-team college All-American. He's 25-8 in Toronto. Oh, he's our 3rd best player? That's what happens to the dynasties. That's when dynasties take place. You start looking at, and Dennis Rodman at one point was the 4th best Bull. It's like, oh, timeout. Ron Harper was coming off the bench. He'd been an all-star. Start looking at your 3. You know, Kyle Lowry's taken a lot of heat because he doesn't deliver in the clutch. But last year, he was their 3. It's like, oh, no, Kyle's a really good 3. That's a team that wins a championship. So with the Lakers, it's Kyle Kuzma. He's having his worst year, 12.5 a game, 30% from three-point land. And a player that is so young, he is still wildly inconsistent. He doesn't have that sort of walk into the arena, I'm going to drop 22 feel to him. He doesn't. He's young. I get it. This is a men win titles, not the young kids. So when you start looking at the Lakers, there's just no wiggle room. You know, LeBron struggles, trouble. You know, everybody took so much from the Lakers win over the Clippers. Lou Williams and Montrezl Harrell, 2 of their top 6 guys, did not play. Did not play. So I just don't think this Laker team's a championship team. I just don't. I think they're good. I think they're fun. But yesterday, AD's off. They big struggles. Toronto, I couldn't tell you the last time the Lakers beat Toronto, by the way. Could not tell you the last time they beat them. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.